What does it take to stand up when the world expects you to stay silent? In the heart of a bustling city precinct, Officer Elena Martinez faced that question head-on. At 25, she was the youngest officer in her unit, a Latina with a fire in her eyes and a badge pinned to her chest like a promise to her late father, a cop who died in the line of duty. Elena wasn't just chasing justice, she was chasing his legacy. The precinct was a pressure cooker. Long shifts, endless paperwork, and a culture that didn't always welcome someone like her. Among the worst was Sergeant Roy Kessler, a veteran cop with a swagger that reeked of untouchability. Kessler's reputation preceded him, a string of complaints for racial slurs and heavy-handed tactics. Yet he remained untouchable, shielded by connections and a system that turned a blind eye. To him, Elena was a target, a rookie, a woman, a minority. He made it clear with every sneer, every joke about her heritage, every deliberate mispronunciation of her name. Elena endured. She had to. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. Justice isn't given, Mija. You fight for it. But Kessler's taunts grew bolder, his comments more personal. One evening, in the dimly lit locker room after a grueling shift, he crossed a line that shattered her restraint. As she adjusted her uniform, Kessler loomed behind her, his breath hot on her neck. You don't belong here, Martinez, he sneered, then grabbed her arm, his fingers digging in with a sickening familiarity. The air turned thick with menace. Elena froze, her heart pounding. Time slowed. She could hear her father's voice, but another memory surfaced, a childhood friend, Maria, who'd once stood up to a bully and paid a price for it. Maria had been fearless, but her defiance had cost her dearly, leaving her ostracized. Elena had vowed never to be that vulnerable. Yet here, in this moment, vulnerability was a spark, not a weakness. She spun around, her eyes blazing. Let go, she said, voice low but steady. Kessler laughed, tightening his grip. That's when it happened, a single, swift motion born of rage and resolve. Her hand cracked across his face, a slap so sharp it echoed off the lockers. His glasses flew off, shattering against the concrete floor. The precinct seemed to hold its breath. Kessler stumbled back, shock replacing his smugness. But before he could recover, a new figure emerged from the shadows, Officer Jamal Carter, a quiet, hulking man who'd been with the force for a decade. Jamal had seen it all, heard it all, and kept his head down to survive. But tonight, something shifted. I saw everything, he said, his deep voice cutting through the tension. And I'm done staying silent. His words were a twist in the narrative, a crack in the precinct's unspoken code. Jamal, who'd always avoided trouble, was now a witness, an ally. The aftermath was chaos. Kessler raged, threatening lawsuits and retribution. But Elena stood tall, her chin lifted. Jamal's testimony changed everything. Other officers, inspired by his courage, began to speak up, revealing Kessler's pattern of abuse. The precinct, once a fortress of silence, began to crumble under the weight of truth. Elena's slap wasn't just a moment of defiance, it was a spark that ignited change. Weeks later, Kessler was suspended, his career in tatters. Elena faced scrutiny, but her colleagues' newfound respect shielded her. She wasn't just the rookie anymore. She was the one who dared to fight back. At night, she'd visit her father's grave, whispering, I fought for it, Poppy. The badge on her chest felt heavier, but it gleamed brighter. Courage isn't loud. Sometimes, it's a single, resounding act of slap that breaks more than glasses. It breaks silence, fear, and the chains of a broken system. Elena Martinez didn't just fight for herself that day. She fought for Maria, for Jamal, for her father, and for every voice that had been told to stay quiet. And in that fight, she found her place not just in the precinct, but in a legacy of justice that would outlast them all. Yindi.